Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan. Joining me as always are Ben, Zach, and Cam. This week we're watching Dirty Harry, the 1970s Clint Eastwood film. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail, the Dirty Harry. This took me a minute to what's the word I'm looking for here?
Shit.
To convert all of these fucking measurements, because the recipe I saw for this had it in centiliters.
The fuck?
Centiliters?
Yeah,
Man, who uses that?
I don't know. So basically, I had to convert it into ounces and then make it like a decent sized cocktail, because when I converted the centiliters, it was like ended up being like 0.6 ounces of the alcohol and then like 1.6 ounces of the coffee, and I was like, this is gonna make like a shot, I guess. Like it's not even a splash in the glass. So
Maybe it is supposed to be a shot, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I guess. But for the cocktail version, I guess from us, it's half ounce of simple syrup, 2 ounces of scotch, and 5 ounces of cold coffee in a glass, and you stir that together or serve it over ice. Chuck that back. It's kind of like I feel like we do a lot of coffee cocktails, and I feel like we've done one with just like bourbon.
Yeah, the whiskey scotch bourbony with coffee cocktail has been done quite a few times. This one kind of misses the maple.
Yeah, it's not the Bruce Wayne. That was the one with the maple syrup, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have extensive knowledge of our past cocktails that we've done after
have
100
believe it or not.
episodes.
But I think this would be a good cocktail, and I've done it before with coffee. Not scotch, but I've just used like a whiskey. And then Zach, you told me about that Guinness syrup.
Yes, sir.
That is very good.
Guinness
I
syrup
don't know that I
sucks.
would. I don't know that I would do like 5 parts to the 2 parts of the other stuff. That's way too much sugar. Reel it in, but yeah, I think it's very good with like the Guinnessy. Just adds that extra little flavor to it.
Yeah, I had to bust out my ratios. Had to do some number crunching math on the conversion to upscale it. So these math majors in this chat right now should be proud of me.
I would never be proud of you. I mean,
Dad? Wait, I mean Zach?
Are you winning, son? Check the show notes below. Make yourself a Dirty Harry cocktail, and hit up the Drizly and Casker links and get yourself some scotch delivered directly to your door, and we get a little kickback from that.
And ask yourself,
out-
do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Did I put in 5 ounces or 6 ounces?
Honestly, in all this excitement, I can't remember.
You can check out Dirty Harry on HBO Max as of recording, because we are gonna spoil it, I guess.
it's on Netflix too.
Oh, it is? Okay. I hesitate to say spoil because there's not really much.
There's not much to spoil.
Yeah, when I saw the description for this, it was like a neo-noir thriller. I was like, when's the detective work start coming into play?
When do we
When's
start
the
really?
deducing?
Yeah, when are we supposed to solve the mystery of who this killer is? Oh, you're just gonna show him to us right away. Oh, okay.
I guess I'll intro it real quick. Dirty Harry is a 1971 action crime thriller. Currently sits at a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Directed by Don Siegel and Clint Eastwood. He, I guess, directed the segment with the suicide jumper sequence. Is written by Harry Julian Fink, Rita M. Fink, and Dean Reisner. It stars Clint Eastwood, Andrew Robinson, Harry Guardino, John Vernon.
Dean Wormer.
He played the Dean in Animal House.
He's the. Yeah, oh my
He
god.
actually did though.
He is. Yeah. And Zach didn't bring it up
I
right
did-
away.
I
We're still
texted
introing.
Zach during the movie. I was like, damn it, it's the fucking Dean from Animal House. You're gonna be
Well, I
so happy, aren't you?
He immediately came on the screen, and I'm like, shit, this guy looks so familiar, but I can't
Yeah, I thought
remember
so
from
too.
where. And then I saw him again later on, and I'm like, Delta House.
He was the cutie with
Yeah,
the booty.
it's when he does his like stern talking to
Yeah.
Callahan at the beginning. I was like, this guy is so familiar.
I don't think there's really much that you have to be honest, outside of the Dean and Clint Eastwood, there weren't a lot of actors that I recognized from a lot of other stuff in this movie. Like, I know the killer's gone on to do, like,
He was in
some stuff, was in
Hellraiser.
Star Trek and Hellraiser. But a lot of them I feel like were just, like, kind of character actors from the time. And they're like, hey, let's not spend our budget on
anything. Oh,
on actors. Let's use it for the really bright red fake blood.
This does seem really, really low budget.
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I'm probably sure this movie made so much money because I doubt it had a huge budget. Dirty Harry is the story of when a madman calling himself the Scorpio Killer menaces the city. Tough as nails San Francisco police inspector Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to track down and ferret out the crazed psychopath. I believe it's loosely based off the Zodiac Killer.
It's a mix between the Zodiac Killer and is it the DC Sniper?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
kind
when
of
that,
combined.
if that was before
I
or
don't
after
think
this.
I don't think
though.
that had happened yet.
No?
Did Zodiac happen at this point?
Oh, the Zodiac
Yes,
happened
it
in the
did.
late 60s.
Yeah, this came out like 2 years after. Yeah, DC Sniper wasn't until 2000s.
Oh. Who the hell
Yeah.
am I? I could have sworn there was another, like, sniper killer that this was also based
There was the
on,
guy in the
but-
Texas state capitol building, or not the state capitol, but the tower at UT.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I could have sworn there was another thing that he was based off of, but I know a lot of like the whole leaving cryptic messages for the police was supposed to be Zodiac-esque, and also seeing as the killer's name was literally like a Zodiac sign.
They weren't being too
They
subtle about.
they weren't trying
Two
to
on the
hide
nose.
it.
Had anyone seen this before?
Yep.
No.
No, I hadn't, which is weird because my dad loves this movie, but I've never watched it.
I know my
with
parents
him.
always quoted the like, "You feeling lucky, punk,"
All
which
the
is
time.
always misquoted
It is, yeah.
because like he doesn't put punk on the question. It's on the statement before.
Well, and he says the question from their perspective. It's like you have to ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? And it's like, yeah. I feel like you hear it. Yeah. I feel like you hear the question, punk, in the question, and him referring to them like as you. Do you feel lucky? Rather
You guys,
than that.
you guys ready to get dunked on?
No.
Dunk on me.
I've seen all 5 Dirty Harry movies.
There's 5?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a
I'm
whole like
surprised there hasn't
series
been
of
one made
Harry
in like
Callahan.
the 2000s because I
So-
feel like it would hit really well with a certain demographic
Yeah.
of white male in America.
Probably
I'm
the
not
same
gonna lie.
demographic that it hit well with in the 70s.
So here's while watching this movie, I'm not gonna lie, there was so many times I was like, man, they could remake this as such a better movie today.
Yeah.
Just because of things that I think they could add they weren't doing back then that would have made this movie so much better.
This movie does have a great drone shot, though. I was shocked at that. I completely forgot about that in the football stadium. I was like, wow, that was modern as hell.
I mean, it's not drone shot, but
Yeah, it's like on a zip line, but it looks like if they did that today, like Ben was saying, that has to be a drone shot.
yeah, I think it's actually a helicopter.
A little helicopter?
No, I think it's an actual helicopter, and they
A
just
full-size helicopter?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, that gets
Because
pretty
they're on a
close.
football field.
Yeah, but it gets pretty close to Clint Eastwood.
It does.
Yeah, but they probably could just back up, like the camera, like physically move the camera or have it zoomed in, and then move out. Is the thing.
No, it's not possible. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't think you know what you're talking about, actually.
All I
Why don't
know
you
is
let the
I could
experts take over this conversation.
Because
Thank you.
a zip line wouldn't be possible at that time.
But
Like,
a
they have
helicopter
cable
would be?
cams now. Yes, you just fucking steer the helicopter away from.
Yeah, you just
literally
get a
up and back
rope
from where
and
you're
you
going.
strap a camera to it and you let the camera go down the rope. Zip line.
But it's going up.
Yeah, they
You're saying
reverse
they
it.
reversed it? No, because how would you stop it?
What do you mean, how would you stop it? You start
you
it.
you just reverse the shot.
I'm saying, how would you stop the camera?
When it runs out of rope, the camera will stop.
You just said it was too close to his face. You're just
no,
gonna let the
for a
camera run
helicopter.
down the line?
For a
At the actor's
helicopter,
face?
I'd rather a camera hit him in the face than a helicopter.
What the fuck?
We lost Clint
The
Eastwood.
camera
Why?
weighs-
It was a
that camera weighs
tragic
fucking
helicopter
90
camera
pounds, dude.
How much do you
accident.
think a helicopter weighs?
The helicopter is at a safe distance. What are you talking about?
The camera could also be at a safe distance.
It's not. Oh my god. You're such a fucking goober.
All right, Clint, we're going to tell you when to duck the flying camera, okay?
Honestly, what's the difference between a helicopter and a camera?
Also, yeah, they're like, Zach's just like, it's just going to stop at when it runs out of rope. 90 pounds coming at like 100 miles per hour down a rope.
I don't think you understand how much a helicopter weighs at 100 miles an hour going down a rope.
2
That's
inches a dick at 200 miles per hour is still a lot of dick.
Is the
12 feet of
helicopter
helicopter.
on rope now?
That makes sense. You wouldn't have to have the blade spinning. And you could put the
I did
camera
work
on the
a,
helicopter.
I worked a job, and this guy taught himself how to fly a helicopter by chaining it to the ground, and then so he would only go like a certain height.
Like
And that's how he
training
learned to
wheels?
fly it.
That
Yeah,
was his training chain.
that's how
The
he
old
learned to fly a
train
helicopter.
chain.
Training chain. Yes, the
No.
old train chain was giving me trouble
just-
today.
A lot of times watching this movie was like, man, if they made this movie like they made, like, what's the movie? Was it Prisoners that we watched?
Yeah,
I was like, a mix between that, like, this movie would be so good. This was also
Seven.
one of the movies I remember watching for the podcast and being like, you know, I wish this movie was longer. Like, I wish it gave us more. Not necessarily like more Clint Eastwood's character, Harry Callahan, doing random shit, because, you know, if we take out the bank robbery and the suicide jumper, maybe we could give ourselves more backstory on the serial killer and find out, like, maybe give us a little bit more motive as to why he's doing anything. Or just make it longer and give us something to be like, oh, here's why we should be afraid of the serial killer. Instead, it's just like, oh yeah, here's this guy who's randomly shooting people. He's
like
really
that?
scary.
Which
Okay.
I mean, like I understand, like they don't have to have a motive. Serial killers can be psychopaths.
Oftentimes they don't. They
But
just want to
even
do
at
it.
the same time, it's like there's nothing interesting.
Yeah,
there.
give us something
Yeah.
to make us, like, not necessarily like connect. I'm not saying like I should feel like I want to
Ooh.
root for the serial killer, but give us something to make the serial killer, like, matter.
Intrigue.
Do something. Do something that makes him seem like scary. Well, like he runs into someone and, you know, is intimidating, but there's nothing. You're just like, oh yeah, okay, you're catching this. I thought it was more interesting with him stopping the bank robbers than I did him catching the serial killer. Like, there just wasn't. Or wait to show his face. Make him like, oh, he's going through this whole scene carrying this yellow bag of money and has to answer the phones. Maybe, like, throughout those scenes, you see the killer from here or there. And that way, when you finally find out who the killer is, you're like, oh, wait, he was at the one train station.
the
Something.
whole time. That's what I
Something.
was expecting.
Give us something, but it was just like, oh, here's the killer's face in the first, like, you find out who the killer is right away. And then also we're going to catch the killer and then spend another half hour of the movie with a bunch of random bullshit that no one needs.
Well, yeah, when he first caught him and it was like 30 minutes to go, I was like, how the hell is there 30 minutes
Right.
left in this movie? And then
What
they're
is
like,
left?
you didn't have a subpoena, or you didn't have a search warrant, so you're SOL. And I'm like, come on.
Which,
I
let's be
mean,
honest,
That's what
At
he
that point-
deserves.
at that point we all knew it's going to end with him killing the guy. It's like, oh, well, we know this isn't going to go to trial.
Yeah, when he's like, oh, as soon as that guy steps on a curb the wrong way, I'm fucking him up. I'm like, oh, God. All right, cool.
I'm a real man's man. I don't like anyone, and I'm going to fuck someone up. Here's a
I
list
love
of
that
all the
part.
offensive names
Yeah,
that people
that's what I was
don't
gonna
like.
say. Is I love how the guy was like, he doesn't like anyone. All right, cool. He doesn't like X and Y and Z and this slur and that slur.
Slur.
Oh, what about this other slur? Yeah, not that one either.
He's
Are
a
you
bigot
serious?
and a racist and a homophobe.
And a
And how does he
sexist?
feel about Mexicans? He hates them too, even though his partner's Hispanic.
And if you don't like that, well, that's just the way it is. Cross his arms.
Okay,
puts on Oakley's.
he did wink at the guy as a
Yeah,
joke, but obviously it's
I
not a
do get
funny
that they
joke.
were-
But he did wink at the guy like he was just fucking with him. But
Yeah, like I get they were trying to make a joke because he does say like honky, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like
No, I think that's fine. That's the rules.
honky.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Canceled.
Listen,
Cancel.
Are
if
we
we
not allowed
can't,
to say that?
if we can't
We
say the
can.
H word freely, I don't know what this country has come to.
I guess we can. Part of our listener base, if you're out there, you might need to watch what you're saying. All right?
Watch out, the 4 white guys are on the language police now.
Oh, you can't say that. Welcome back.
welcome back.
Welcome back to COVID
After we were
Classic.
canceled for saying honky. This
We
is
did our time in this.
apology video.
We did our time in the sin bin, and now we're out.
We're back. Sorry that we said that one thing. Here we are.
I'm
Yeah,
not sorry. I hate everybody.
I hate.
The whole trope of like, I hate everybody equally it just spells I've met single digit people in my entire life, maybe double digit at most, you
Yeah.
know?
And nine of those double-digit people were white.
I don't know. Like I guess I expected so much more. Like I will lead with I did not hate this movie. Like it was fine. It's definitely like a 70s like exploitation film. I thought the cinematography was pretty nuts. Like all the stuff on the rooftop, like the intro shot where the girl is like in the pool and it zooms all the way out to the over the shoulder of the killer on the rooftop. That was fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah.
But there was just no like as an action crime neo noir thriller, all this stuff that was pitched to me as when I like loaded up the movie. There was no deduction. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything where I was like intrigued or like wanting to figure out the mystery because we knew the killer, and this dude's kind of an asshole. Like he's a shit cop, if I'm honest. Like this is police brutality, the movie,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like
Here's
he's
the
like,
thing.
I am justice. I'm gonna just shoot these bank robbers because
The movie
Why?
doesn't exist to be a mystery thriller. The movie exists to show you a badass quote. I'll put that in air quotes. A badass Clint Eastwood. That's it. The dude single-handedly stops a bank robbery with his six shot revolver. You know, like, come on. He's like shooting people. She's shooting at them in the street with like civilians and
All
other
around.
innocent bystanders just around. Like,
As
come
he
on.
puts down his hot dog.
Yeah. Like,
Total
no way he
badass.
doesn't hit a civilian stray on accident, you know?
the other one is like the suicide jumper scene. Like that didn't have any place in here. Like
It was unnecessary.
No.
You know why it made the final cut? Because Clint Eastwood directed it.
yeah, I'd do any dirty job.
There was no need.
He's like fucking Mike Rowe.
Well, that's what I.
Yep.
Well, that's why I was saying like they could have cut
Micro in the
both of those
70s.
things out and given us more to like make the movie. Like I agree with you, Dylan. I thought the movie was a fine movie, but it's not a thriller in the way that they want you to think it is. Like they sell this as like this serial killer catching movie, and it's just like, yeah, there's really not anything that has to do with catching a serial killer outside of getting in a gunfight with the serial killer like twice. There's just
I think the best part of the movie to me was actually when he's going to meet him for the money exchange and he's like making him run around and all that, and then they finally meet right there for the few seconds and that interaction, like that was the best part of the movie right there, because it was like
yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen. There's a little like intrigue and mystery to it, and it's like you're kind of actually on the edge of your seat because you're like, this dude can do anything. Like the killer could be anywhere. And then it ends up and it's like just a long chase scene through the fucking quarry. So,
What?
I guess.
What do you
Like
mean?
at the end
the
of
long
the movie.
chasing.
Like the
Oh, yeah.
Like that's how the movie ends. After all this, it's just like he jumps on the bus off of a random bridge and and then chases him to the quarry and does the little move on the where he gets on the conveyor belt.
Classic move.
I know that this movie came out first, but this just feels like a worse version of Chinatown.
Well, Chinatown had actual mystery and intrigue.
Like, strip out the backstory.
Yeah, this was if
Yeah,
Chinatown
shitty.
was just made to be an action movie.
Yes.
Like I said, this movie's an action movie disguised as some, like, that they tried to be like, oh, it's a serial killer murder mystery thriller. It's like, in reality, you could have just said it's about, like, a day in the life of Harry Callahan. Like, you didn't need to, like, wrap up this whole serial killer thing into it.
Right.
Or if you're going to, commit to it. Like I said, give me more to make me, like, afraid of the serial killer. Like, show a
I
scene.
want to piss myself when
Well,
he
I'm
shows
just saying,
up.
like, do something where,
When I
like,
see the
oh,
serial killer on screen, I want to shit my pants and vomit and start crying and shaking in the corner, and I need to be comforted.
like,
Well, not even that, but like
it just seems like
have you seen Zodiac?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
Zodiac. It's a
where,
lot
like,
better.
it's that thriller
It's
of,
way
like, you
better.
never know when.
Yeah.
Especially the
There's
scene in the basement.
In the basement. Yes.
Yes.
That is what I
Yes.
want when there's
Uh-huh.
a possible killer. Like I want that like tension. That is
Yeah.
And I thought
No,
the
I
only,
think
and
so.
again, the only part of the movie I feel like that gave you that was him running around from payphone to payphone.
But even that was kind of meh, honestly.
I
Yeah,
think.
But it was kind of like, oh, he's trying to get, whatever.
Well, like, I don't know. I thought there was, like, kind of the interesting where, like, the old man picks up the phone. Like,
yeah, and he's like, who
was
was that?
kind of an interesting. Who is that? Like,
I don't know.
I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her now. And, like, just that kind of thing is like, oh. Or, maybe make it where, like, if you're gonna kill the girl anyways, make it where, like, Harry's just a minute too late. Or not something that makes it seem like it gives him some sort of reason to keep going after the killer other than, like, I'm a cop and he's a bad guy. Said, I feel like this movie could be made today and it would be made so much better.
I do see. I'm just like on the IMDb page for this. The trivia section says that after Clint Eastwood and Don Siegel came on board with the project, they hired Dean Reisner to work on the script. In his first rewrite during the bank robbery scene, instead of pointing the gun at the robber, he points it at his own temple, fires, and then laughs and walks away. And they thought that was too extreme, so they
Wait,
pulled
what?
it back a little bit.
So, like when he
instead of,
tells him,
pointing
like,
it,
where
"Did
he
I fire
says
5 shots or
yeah.
6?"
to see if
Oh,
there
and
was
He
5 or
puts it-
6.
He puts it at his own temple,
on temple and
pulls
pulls
the
the
trigger.
trigger.
and it's empty. And he's like, and laughs. And then the other one is Scorpio. This is a goof. Just on the goof section, it says Scorpio is not charged with any crime due to lack of evidence. However, in reality, he could have been charged with assault on an on-duty police officer when he's trying to deliver the money, assault with intent to kill, and illegal possession of an automatic weapon.
I was just saying, as soon
Right.
as they're like, we have nothing to arrest him on, I'm like, he shot that other cop like 6 times. What do you
Right.
mean
It
you have
doesn't-
nothing to go off of?
Like, yeah,
Right.
maybe the murder charges you can't use that evidence for because of it's tainted, but like he did still shoot people. Like he or
Also,
she
like-
shot someone
like-
while police saw him do it.
He was assaulting a police officer, and Harry stabbed him in the leg. He then has a stab wound in that leg. I think that's pretty much enough to get a guilty charge out of it.
No, I dropped my dinner fork into my leg. The other
It was pretty bad. I had to go to the hospital. That was coincidentally right
Across the
next
street.
to the place from where I sleep and work.
the stadium where I sleep and work.
The hospital's stadium.
That's just convenience, man. That's good planning.
The guy's like, yeah, he's the groundskeeper at the stadium right next door.
Where's the stadium? Oh, it's right next door. But it still took me a long time to remember who he was. I've seen him before, but I don't remember from where. Oh yeah, he works right next door. Like, I feel like if there was someone where if I went to work and someone worked next door to me and they're like, "Oh, have you seen this guy before?" Yeah, I work right next door. Not just like, I have to think about it. Hold on. This is
Think about it
serious.
for 5 minutes.
Yeah, hold on. It's gonna take me a while. I have some important doctoring to do. Like I have to go to this medicine cabinet and try to collect my thoughts. Oh, parts of this movie, man. Movies in the 70s and 80s, just some of the fucking things that happen are just like, I can't believe that no one back then was just like, this is completely unrealistic.
I will say it was very disorienting at the very beginning of the movie when it was like the pool scene, and then immediately after the lady's like shot, it goes into this like funky like beat, like
Yeah.
straight out of like, boo do 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 do. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what is
The music's way off in this movie.
this? Is not a thriller, obviously. That was like my first sign when it once
Yeah.
it like the killer shot and it was funkadelic, and I was like, all right, come on. Jesus Christ. The tagline for this movie: Dirty Harry and the Homicidal Maniac. Harry's the one with the badge.
I read that. So bad.
You don't assign him to murder cases. You just turn him loose. Detective Harry
That's so
Callahan.
cringy.
He doesn't break murder cases. He smashes them.
Maybe this is the problem in America. We have so many people who grew up with movies like this, and now we're seeing it reflected in society.
One of them is just Double Trouble.
What?
Who's the other trouble? But Chico was a badass, I guess?
I love the scene where he's just peeping in on the naked woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact
they
that
called her
they're-
like Hot Mary or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just looking in on Hot Mary. Like,
Hot
all right.
Mary.
Also, I feel like that's the other thing that would be good about the movie if it were remade today. There wouldn't need to be like the pointless nudity. Like, oh, here's the naked woman in the window. Oh, we're gonna pull
Very
this woman's
70s.
we're gonna pull this woman's body out of the well, but we're gonna make
Here's
sure
the
you see her
boobs.
entire naked body. Like, really?
Yeah.
Do we need to do this?
That one I'm fine with. That one I'm fine with because that's just like
Definitely need
That's
to post
realistic
on
at
that.
least.
that's
I mean-
realistic. But like,
Yes,
yeah,
but you could have just
that's
showed
what
her
bodies
with a
be
sheet
doing.
over. Like, you don't need to show this fully naked woman multiple times on the screen. You don't need to.
yeah. Well, but the lady that he peeps on in the window who like closes the window, but then we get the second
The
like,
second
the
window
second
she
window.
closes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just
Or
because you
the-
didn't see enough boob the first time.
Or the other lady who's like lives in the building that he's set the trap in, and he's like watching her about to have a threesome or something. I don't know what they did in the 70s. Some weird art experiment. I don't.
I don't know if they invented threesomes then. I don't know if they were invented
You don't
yet.
think so?
Might have been like a later,
The
like an
French
85,
the French
86
hadn't
thing.
invented those yet.
Hey Siri.
I think so. When were threesomes?
Winworth.
Hey Siri, when was the first threesome? Yeah, it was actually in 1994. Me, your mother, and your father got together for a night of romance.
Jesus.
Siri, are you my dad?
I've noticed a disturbing trend in these movies where, at least this one shows like a downside to it, I guess, but like the police bending and breaking rules to get what they want or need out of stuff. Like, I feel like every police movie has that, and it's interesting to see which movies they are like, yes, that was cool, do that again, because you got exactly what you wanted and face no consequences, versus like, you shouldn't have done that and you fucked yourself because you did that.
Yeah. Not only
I feel
did
like
you
the ones
fuck
we've watched though.
Not only did you fuck yourself, but now we literally can't charge this guy with anything because you completely fucked up. So way to go.
Yeah.
I do feel like the movies we've watched on the podcast though have had negative consequences to that. I'm thinking of like, well, I guess not Prisoners per se, but like Prisoners was more like the parents going, and doing that like
Yeah.
above the law thing, but like Seven, for instance, they did kind of go out of the way, but then like what's his face, Brad Pitt's character still gets like the short end of the stick. It's a gentle way of putting that, I guess.
Right.
That was
It's one way to phrase it. It's a head in a box.
all right. He got the short end of the stick when his pregnant wife's head just showed up in that box.
Like life really dealt me a bad hand today.
God.
Found myself in quite a kerfuffle out there in the desert. I opened a box and part of my wife came to see me at work.
Oof.
You just take your wife's head to work, Jay.
I didn't.
And I forgot it at home, so luckily that guy brought it.
Luckily, he shipped it out for me.
I'd lose my head if it wasn't glued to my shoulders.
The good news is her quest to join the headless hunt was immediately approved.
Oh my God.
Man, the niche Harry Potter reference. We got it all here.
The boy into the cupboard. The boy into the cupboard.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Welcome back, everybody. We learned we couldn't say that person's name. We just lost all of our ad revenue.
Well, Zach watches these movies. He comes up with trivia, and he quizzes us on it. Zach, what do you got for us on Dirty Harry?
Believe it or not, I have trivia for you from the movie Dirty Harry.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Would you guys like to hear the first question?
No.
Question number 1. What is the name of the topless bar Scorpio visits after being released from custody? A. The Roaring Twenties. B. Bazongos. Or C. Cocktail Charlie's.
Bazongos.
Bojangles. I'm going to go with the Roaring Twenties. Final answer. Lock it in.
I'm also
Locking it in.
going with the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah, I'm ashamed that I know this. It's the Roaring Twenties.
Is it because that's the answer?
Believe it or not, the answer is not Bazongos. It is
Wow.
the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah, I because they showed it twice, I was like reading the signs and stuff as they were walking by, and I was
Yeah.
like, the other one was like
College
real
girls
life
nude.
college co-eds nude. or something.
Yeah,
I was
college
like,
co-eds nude. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be a trivia question. Zach
Wow,
will
that's
for sure
silly.
ask about the strip clubs.
Silly.
The signs on the strip club say all of but which saying.
Which days of the week is Bazongos not open?
Oh my God.
Anyways,
Any day that
question
ends
number
with
2.
Y.
What does the sign above St. Peter and Paul's Church during the shootout with Scorpio say?
I know.
Oh, I guess I need to give you the options.
Yeah,
I was going to
Oh,
say.
you don't. I got it.
All right. Well, for all of us mortals, can you please give us the answers?
Yes. A. Jesus, take the wheel. B. Jesus walks with me. Or C. Jesus saves.
Jesus saves. That's my answer. Maybe that's a trick question.
Bo,
but that's my answer.
Bo.
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 What was the you said above the church?
Yeah, when
Of
Harry
the sign
is
of-
in the shootout with Scorpio.
It's at that scene at night when everything's super dark and you can't see fucking anything except for this lit up sign.
We're not. Are we talking about the sign that's above them?
Yes.
Mhm.
Where the
St.
letters
Peter
get
and
like
Paul's
shot
Church.
off. And start
Yeah.
like falling down on them,
That sign.
but they don't fall on
Yeah,
them.
that sign.
That sign.
That sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
The neon
Yes.
sign.
I want Zach to tell me that sign. He keeps saying Peter and Paul's church.
Is that the sign above Peter and Paul's church?
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm,
I'm thinking that the
it's
one
not,
that's above them,
but-
they're not on the church. They're on
Right.
something else.
yeah. Maybe. But
Who is leading who astray?
I mean, I guess I have to go with Jesus saves because that's the one sign I know is on.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
Jesus saves is the neon lettering that falls on them, so I'm gonna say it's Jesus saves.
The boys are on fire tonight. I didn't get you with either of my song lyrics. I thought one of you would bite with it. Yes,
See, I thought you were
red on
gonna
one
trick
side, blue on
us.
the other.
Because I was like,
Yeah, I thought it was a trick
was there
question.
another sign? Like, because they were looking at the priest somewhere. I thought like maybe that was the church he was at, and I had a different sign above. And I was like, oh shit.
All right. It is a big old three-way up in here. Post 1985-86 three-way.
Some would say it's the first.
It's maybe the landmark three-way. Question number 3. What type of store is next to Harry's usual diner? A strip club. B, an adult bookstore. Or C, an electronics store.
Once again, I'll go last because I know the answer.
I have no idea, actually. I'm going to say the adult bookstore.
Kind of looks like a respectable street though. So I'm gonna go with an electronics store.
Really, the detail in there is that the other two establishments are not respectable stores.
Yes.
A little sus.
Unfortunately, it was not a respectable store that was next to the diner. It was an adult bookstore.
Twas.
Wow, I got it right.
Say, Cameron
Nice.
stumbles into a 3 for 3 after guessing
Yeah,
on
let's
2
go.
of them.
I knew the first two, but the third one was where
you said Jesus saves like you were guessing. You said I guess I'm gonna go with Jesus saves.
No, I knew that was the neon sign. I wasn't sure if it was
Oh.
the sign he was referring to, but I did know that that was the sign. I would have said.
When Harry pulled up and I was like, is he about to walk into an adult bookstore? And if so, why are they showing us him going to an adult bookstore? And then he just walks next door. I was like, this just seemed wholly unnecessary.
Well, it's that time of the show. We have a two-way tie, and it's time to celebrate 2022 with an inflation question.
Nice.
Closest without going over. How much would Harry's $19.50 pants cost in 2022 dollars?
It's all like $8,000, something like that.
Gotta think, when in this, was this like before the inflation in the 70s?
Sorry, did you say 1950? I think they were 29.50.
29.50, sorry.
Did you calculate it based on 19 or 29?
29.
Okay.
Do you want me to crunch the numbers again?
Well, no, you said 19.
hang on.
So I'm just wondering which it is.
There we go. Numbers are recrunched.
Okay. I'm gonna say $45.
I think it's higher than.
I mean, it might be, but you can't go over. So I'm gonna say $45.
I'm gonna say 100.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do these. Because the actual cost of the pants, remember Dirty Harry's $29.50 pants in today's dollars?
Yeah.
Would be $210.63.
What the hell?
Yes.
Jesus
A
Christ.
police officer affording $210 pants. And this is the guy who breaks the rules all the time.
Oh,
He's the
makes
detective,
sense.
though. He's an inspector. He's high up on the
He
totem
doesn't do
pole.
much detective work. He just goes around
Okay,
shooting
maybe, but I'm
people.
just saying, like, positionally, he's high up on the totem pole.
I
He's
just
probably
hope
making
they
a
know.
little money.
How do you deduce who to shoot? Well, I usually just point my gun and then it just lands somewhere. Pull the trigger.
Normally, whoever I shoot tends to be the bad guy. But what if they're not? They're the bad guy.
Ben, congrats. The man didn't miss a single question tonight. Very impressive. Also impressive, Dylan got 2 of the questions right and still lost like a loser.
As is tradition. Zach's the only one who hadn't seen this film, so he's going to give you a nostalgia rating and an updated one. But first, the 3 members of the Goob Squad
The Goob
will
Squad.
give you a fresh rating after watching
Squad.
Dirty Harry for the first time. Cam, lead us off.
I'm gonna give it a 6. Thought it was decent, fine, even. I do wish it was more mystery and like intrigue, noir. I do think this movie just exists to be like a, hey, I'm Clint Eastwood and I'm a badass. I shoot people on the street for committing crimes.
Guns
type
don't
of movie.
kill people.
I kill people.
I kill people. With guns.
like his admittedly his like do I feel lucky thing is kind of cool, but like that's pretty much it. I don't know. And there were some there were some entertaining parts, but I do think overall it was not great. So it was fine though. It was fine. I'm gonna give it a 6.
So, I think I had really high hopes for this movie. Like, I really wanted to enjoy it, and I thought this was going to be one of those movies that's like, yeah, this is right up my alley. I was underwhelmed. Like, it was meh. Like, I just didn't think it was that good. Like, it sells itself being this, like, Clint Eastwood is an action hero detective hunting a serial killer. And it's like, instead it's Clint Eastwood is a badass cop and, well, kind of hunting a serial killer. He also stops a robbery and saves a guy from committing suicide. It's like, it just wasn't necessary. There's so many things they could have done to make this movie much better. And I think it just missed the mark a lot. Like I said, I was expecting to watch this movie and be like, yeah, this movie was great. I don't know how I hadn't seen this before. I walked away from it just being like, really? That was it? That's the thing. So, yeah, I gave it a 5. It's all right. It's not great. I think a remake would they would be able to remake this movie and do a lot better. But overall, meh.
I think this movie is it's all right. I wasn't blown away by it, but I do think it's very easy to watch. I don't think the movie necessarily dragged. There's a lot of scenes where I thought, like, why is this in the movie? But I do think the movie was paced well enough to not be a drag. I wish there were more moments of the detective work and the legwork that you have to do to get the criminal. Which is kind of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like this great detective thriller, but it's kind of just like Clint Eastwood plays a bad cop, or not a bad cop, but a badass cop in quotations, and is just gunning down the criminals because he is justice. It's shot really well. I think Clint Eastwood is fine. It's just typical Clint Eastwood kind of, but I would recommend you watch it. I thought I enjoyed the hour and 40 minutes I was in there. I never once was like, is this gonna end soon? And I'm gonna I think it's fine. I think it's like a 6 out of 10. Do you feel lucky? It's iconic. But yeah, check it out.
All right, I always forget to give my rating up front. Going into this movie, I was going to give this either a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I remember, like, loving this movie, thinking it was awesome. Watching it again, massive letdown. I don't think the movie's paced very well at all. It feels like it drags a ton. It's like Dirty Harry goes to this spot, does something a cop shouldn't do. Then goes to this spot, does something a cop shouldn't do. And there's no, like, detective work, really. The killer just sort of exposes himself, and that's the end of it. I don't know. The movie was not fun to watch. I was actually wondering, like, an hour in, I'm like, oh, come on, how much is left? Oh, yeah, we got to do that part. And then there's the whole 30 minutes at the end of the movie where I'm like, oh, come on, I should have just ended the movie already. Like Ben said, a remake would be done a lot better. Recast Dirty Harry, redo the story. It would be done a lot better today. I feel like the only reason they don't do that is maybe they're waiting for Clint Eastwood to not have a say. I don't know. 4 out of 10.
Wow. I was gonna say the one time he does put in legwork is when he peeping toms on Hot Mary or whatever her name was.
Well, here's something else that I just thought of, like, right after I gave my review, and I wish I would have thought to bring it up earlier. The movie's just also edited poorly. The scene with him stopping the bank robbery, imagine if that took place before the credits, and then it wasn't just, like, oddly in the middle of his murder investigation. Like, imagine that's the scene before the credits.
Yeah.
Then leads into the funky music, then it, like, brings it in, and then we go into the guy sniping the woman on the roof. Like, I feel like just a change like that would have made the movie that much better. Where it's like, okay, here we're introducing how Harry Callahan is this badass cop. Cool. Awesome. Now let's get to what the movie's about. Instead, it's like, here's the whole background with the serial killer, and now we're going to show why Harry's a badass cop. And now we're going to go back to the serial killer part. And now we're going to show that Harry's actually kind of a good guy, because he's going to stop this guy from jumping off this roof. Okay, cool.
He punches the dude in the face.
To save his life. No. Altogether, I think that scene should have been cut. There's no reason for it to even be in the movie. But I just think it was edited so, like, the events in the movie take place so out of order that even just editing it differently would have made the movie better. Like, I just think they did so many things wrong that kept this movie from being as good as it could have been.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Let us know what movies you want us to watch. Hit up the Drizly and Casker links. Make yourself a Dirty Harry. Get some Scotch delivered directly to your door. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Share us with your friends and family. And as always, watch responsibly.